Good afternoon, students. In the last class, we discussed the reapportionment of the overhead, like what is the direct distribution, repeated distribution, simultaneous equation method, step ladder method, and the trial and error method. And then we see the how an overhead is to be absorbed. And today we are going to see different methods of absorption of overhead. So I'm going to share with you the details with regard to this. So please see that. So, methods of absorption of overhead rates. For charging or absorbing the overheads to the cost units, overhead rates have to be determined on an appropriate basis. This requires computation of an overhead absorption rate. So, what is an overhead absorption rate? It is the rate at which the overhead is charged to different cost center or jobs or products. Cost centers or cost units or jobs or products, the overhead is to be charged. That's overhead absorption rate. Following are the important methods of computing the overhead absorption rate of the factory overheads. That is, one is percentage of, what is that, percentage on direct material. Another one is second, percentage on direct wages. Then percentage on prime cost. Then unit of production basis. Then what is that? Labor hour rate. Then machine hour rate. So these are the steps in which absorption of overhead to be takes place. So overhead rates, different overhead rates are there. Factory overheads. Under the factory overheads, what is their percentage on the direct material, percentage on the direct wages, percentage on prime cost, unit of production basis, and labor hour rate and machine hour rate. So firstly, we will check percentage on direct wages. This is direct material. This is none other than what under the direct material, how much percentage is the overhead. So according to this method, overhead absorption rate is calculated as a percentage of the direct material cost. The absorption rate is obtained by dividing the total estimated factory overheads by the total estimated direct material cost. That is the formula for calculating this. So overhead absorption rate under the percentage on direct materials is equal to estimated factory overhead for the period divided by estimated direct material cost for the normal output. For example, see, what is the difference? This one, estimated factory overhead. Under this, the last two is very important, labor hour rate and the machine hour rate. So, estimated factory overhead for the period that is given in the question below. There is, okay, factory overhead is 2000. Then, what is that? Estimated direct material cost for the normal output that is also given in the question as example is 5000. So, 2000 by 5000 into 100. 40% is the factory overhead on direct material. So, percentage of the factory overhead on direct material, that is 2000 divided by 5000 into 100 is 40%. See, percentage on direct material of the factory overheads on the direct material is 40%. So that is the case, percentage on direct material cost. Clear? So that is the formula. Overhead absorption rate is equal to estimated factory overheads for the period divided by estimated direct material cost over the period. Simple. So that is the percentage on direct material. Next we see percentage on direct wages. See, estimated factory cost of the product if the direct material is 60,000, then direct labor is 40,000 and the factory overhead is 40% of the direct material. So how it is to be calculated? That is, direct material is equal to how much? 60,000. Then direct labor or wages is equal to 40,000. Then prime cost it is 1 lakh. And what is that? Factory overhead. Out is there 40% of direct material. So 24,000, isn't it? So how much? 40% of direct material. So 60,000 in there, 40%. Again, 24,000. How much is the then factory overhead? This is factory overhead. So factory cost of work cost is this one, 1,24,000. That is that. Okay. So this is the which one? Percentage on direct material means what? Percentage of the factory overheads on direct material. Estimated factory expenses divided by estimated material cost into 100. That is this. See, 40% on direct material. 60,000 is the direct material. അതിന്റെ 40% എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ 24,000. അതിവിടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്തു. ഇത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഇനി percentage on direct wages. Percentage on direct wages. അതും ഇതുപോലെ തന്നെയാണ്. Okay. On direct wages. So, how it is to be? This is one of the most popular methods of absorption of overhead. Under this method, the overhead absorption rate is expressed as a percentage of the direct wages. That is, overhead absorption rate is equal to estimated factory overhead divided by estimated material cost divided labor cost for the period into 100. Same formula, different is what? Instead of material cost, there is direct labor cost. Okay. Then how it is to be? If the factory overhead is 3,000 and the direct labor cost is 12,000, so how it is? 3,000 divided by 12,000 into 100. Okay, how much it is? What percentage? 25%. Clear? So this is the estimated factory overhead divided by estimated labor cost into 100. So see, estimate the factory cost of the product. If the direct material required is 1 lakh, like the same we will do this. 1 lakh direct material. Direct labor 60,000. So 1,60,000. This is the prime cost. Okay. What is the factory overhead is 25% of 25% of direct labor. How much? 60,000 into 25%. So it is how much? 15,000. So 1,75,000 is the prime factory cost or work cost. See, this is the percentage on what? Factory overhead on direct labor or wages. Next is percentage on prime cost. അതിന് എന്താണ്? Estimated factory overheads divided by estimated prime cost into 100. അതാണ് അതിന്റെ ഫോർമുല. Okay, estimated factory overheads divided by estimated prime cost into 100. So how it is to be? See, under this method, the rate is established as a percentage of the combined cost of material and labor. That is direct material plus direct labor. That is what? Prime cost. Plus expenses is there. But instead of that, we are putting this two only. That is the important one. According to this method, overhead absorption rate is expressed as a percentage of the prime cost. The rate is calculated as follows. Overhead absorption rate is equal to estimated factory overheads for the budgeted period divided by estimated prime cost for the normal output into 100. See the example. In a factory, the factory overhead is 5,000 and the prime cost is 25,000. So 5,000 divided by 25,000 into 100. Right. So 50% or 20%. Okay. So 20%. Then estimated factory cost of the product, if direct material is 80,000, direct labor 20,000. So it is in the same way, we will look into that. Direct material, it is 80,000. Direct labor, it is 20,000. So it is 1 lakh. Okay, this is the prime cost. And factory overheads, 20% on prime cost. 1 lakh. Yeah. So 1 lakh in 20% on PC. That is 1 lakh in 20%. So 20,000. So 1 lakh 20,000 is the works cost. Simple. So that is the percentage on primary cost. Simple. 1 lakh 20,000. See, these three methods, estimated factory overheads we are calculating, or it is there in the question. That is C. This is the estimated factory overhead. First case 20% on direct material cost. Second case 20% percentage on, not 20, percentage on direct material cost. Second case percentage on direct labor cost, and third case percentage on prime cost. This is the case. Clear? In all the three cases, what is the formula? Estimated factory overhead divided by estimated direct material cost for the period into 100. In the first case, percentage on direct material cost. Second case, what? Second case, the estimated factory overhead divided by estimated direct labor cost into 100 for the period into 100. Percentage on direct labor cost or direct wages. Third case, percentage on prime cost. That is estimated factory overheads divided by estimated what prime cost for the period into 100. That is the third case. Fourth is unit of production basis. That is number of units produced. Number of units produced. എത്ര യൂണിറ്റ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. So fourth, what is the unit of production basis? So that is factory overheads divided by number of units. എത്ര യൂണിറ്റ് പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. So for example, if the factory overhead is 20,000 in a factory and if the estimated units of output during the period is 5,000, so 20,000 divided by 5,000, so 4. Simple. Rupees 4. 4 രൂപ വെച്ചാണ് ഓവർഹെഡ് അബ്സോർപ്ഷൻ റേറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതാണ് അതിന്റെ ഫോർമുല. ഓവർഹെഡ് അബ്സോർപ്ഷൻ റേറ്റ് is equal to factory overheads divided by estimated number of units. Then see, estimated factory cost of 1,000 units if the direct material is 60,000 and the labor hours is 40,000. So labor hours അല്ല labor cost. അപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ്? Direct material, direct labor. So how much it is? 60 and 40. So 1 lakh is the prime cost. Then factory overhead is rupees 4 per unit. Per unit is 4. How much units is produced? 1,000. So 4 into 1,000. See, add factory overhead 4 into 1,000. So how much? 4,000. So 1 lakh 4,000 is what? Number of units produced. Factory overhead divided by estimated number of units produced. So this is the factory cost or work cost. Clear? So this is the next step. Fourth one, unit of production basis, where the calculation is factory overhead divided by number of units produced. Next step. What is that? Labor hour rate. Labor hour rate is equal to factory overhead divided by direct labor hours. നേരിട്ട് എത്ര ലേബർ അവേഴ്സ് അവിടെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് അതിനെ ഫാക്ടറി ഓവർഹെഡ്സിനെ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. സോ ലേബർ അവർ റേറ്റ് ഈസ് എ കോമൺലി യൂസ്ഡ് മെത്തേഡ് ഓഫ് ഓവർഹെഡ് റിക്കവറി ഇൻ മാനുഫാക്ചറിംഗ് കൺസേൺസ് വെയർ ലേബർ ഈസ് ദ ഡോമിനന്റ് ഫാക്ടർ ഓഫ് പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ. ലേബർ മീൻസ് വേജസ്, ആൾക്കാർക്ക് കൂലി കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇൻ മെനി ഫാക്ടറീസ് the time spent by the workers on each job is recorded most reliably. Therefore, labor hour rate is the overhead rate for working one worker for 1 hour. ഒരു വർക്കർ ഒരു മണിക്കൂർ പണിയെടുത്താൽ അവന് എത്ര കിട്ടും? ഓക്കെ, ആ ഒരു ഇതാണ് ഓവർഹെഡ് റേറ്റ് ഫോർ വർക്കിംഗ് വൺ വർക്കർ പെർ അവർ. ഒരു വർക്കർ ഓരോ മണിക്കൂറും പണിയെടുത്താൽ എത്ര റേറ്റ് വെച്ച് അവന് കിട്ടും, ആ ഇതാണ് ലേബർ അവർ റേറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Therefore, labor hour rate is equal to factory overheads divided by labor hour, direct labor hours of the person employed. This method is suitable in those concerns where most of the operations are done by laborers. This method considers the influence of time factor in deciding the amount of overhead. The major drawback of labor hour rate is that it cannot be applied in concerns where most of the manufacturing operations are done by machinery. കാര്യം അവിടെ മെഷീനറി ആണെങ്കിൽ എത്ര ഒരു മണിക്കൂറിന് ആയിരിക്കില്ല ഇതിന്റെ പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ അവേഴ്സ് വേറെ സെറ്റ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നതായിരിക്കും. Then in a factory, the direct labor hours during a period is 2,800 and the factory overhead is 33,600. So directly it is to be applied. Direct labor hours is 2,800. And this is the factory overhead. So factory overhead divided by direct labor hours. That is what rupees 12 per hour. 12 രൂപ വെച്ചാണ് കൊടുക്കേണ്ടത്. ഇനി estimated factory cost if the direct material is 60 and direct labor is 40. So 1 lakh. Direct material is 60. Direct labor is 40. So 1 lakh. This is the prime cost. And factory overheads. How much it is? It is given as factory overhead is 12 per labor hour. 200 labor hours are required for finishing the work. അപ്പോൾ 200 labor hour 12 മണിക്കൂർ വെച്ച് അപ്പം factory overheads 200 into 12, so 2,400, isn't it? So how much it is? 102,400 is the total factory cost of work cost. Look. Okay. Then another example, the total overhead of the production department is 16,000. Number of workers in the department is 10. Working hours per day is 8 hours and number of working days in a month is 20. How it is to be calculated, we will check it. So what is that? Total overhead of a production department 16,000. Total overhead. Number of workers in the department 10. Number 10. Then working hours 8 hours. And also normal working days 20. So how it is to be calculated? We will check it. Calculate total labor hours in a month, direct labor hour rate, overhead to be charged to a product if 15 hours are required for processing in the department, and what is the factory cost of a product where which requires direct material 4,000, direct labor 2,000 and direct and labor hours required to finish the product is 30 hours. So total labor hours, total labor hours, number is 10, 8 hours is there and 20 people are required. So 10 into 8 into 20, 16 into 10, 160 into 10, 1,600 hours. Totally 1,600 hours is enjoyed there. Then direct labor hour rate is there. What is that? Factory overheads divided by direct labor hours. So 16,000 is the factory overheads divided by 1,600 hours. So 10 is the, which one? Repeat 10 per hour. Then overhead cost, if the hours is required is, then third case, overhead to be charged to a product if 15 hours are required for processing in the department. 15 മണിക്കൂർ ആണ് എങ്കിൽ ഇവിടെ ഇപ്പൊ 10 മണിക്കൂറാണല്ലോ അല്ലെ 20 മണിക്കൂറാണെങ്കിൽ അത്രയും വരും. ഇപ്പൊ 15 മണിക്കൂറാണെങ്കിലോ 10 into 50, 10 per 10 അല്ലേ, rupees 10 വെച്ചാണ്. So 10 into 15, that is what? 150. And last case, what is the factory cost of a product which requires direct material? It is 4,000. Direct labor, it is 2,000. So 6,000. Then what is there? Labor hours required to finish the product is 30 hours. 30 മണിക്കൂറിനാണ് എങ്കിൽ. Okay, labor hours. So factory overheads, this is prime cost. Then add factory overheads. That is how much? 30 hours required into 10. So 300. So 6,300 is the factory cost. So this is the labor hour rate. Then finally, machine hour rate. Machine hour rate is the most commonly used method of absorption of overhead. Machine hour rate is the overhead rate of working one machine for 1 hour. ഒരു മെഷീൻ ഒരു മണിക്കൂറത്തേക്ക് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് എത്ര റേറ്റ്? expenses rate. അതാണ് machine hour rate എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. This method is used in those industrial concerns where machines are employed for most of the manufacturing operation. In a highly mechanized factory, the majority of the overheads such as machinery depreciation, repair and maintenance, insurance of machines, power charges, lubricants, etc. are related with the machines. Such concerns, machine hour rate is the most appropriate method for absorption. How this is to be calculated? So, in the case of labor hours, how we calculated factory overhead divided by direct labor hours, isn't it? Instead of labor hours here, direct machine hours or machine hours to be divided with that. So factory hours divided by direct machine hours, we will get the machine hour rate. So please note down these formulas, that is very important. If a factory's overhead is 30,000 and machine hours are 15,000, the machine hour rate is 30,000 by 15,000, that is rupees 2. There are two types of machine hour rate, ordinary machine hour rate and a composite machine hour rate. So, ordinary machine hour rate. Ordinary machine hour rate is one in which expenses directly associated with the running of the machinery, usually known as the machine expenses, are considered for computing the machine hour rate. So, expenses, those expenses which are directly associated with the particular machinery, for the running of that machinery. ആ മെഷീനറി ഓടിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പോകാൻ വരുന്ന ചെലവുകൾ എന്തെല്ലാം, that is to be directly associated with that machinery itself. Isn't it? So that is the ordinary machine hour rate. So one in which expenses that are directly associated with the running of the machinery, usually known as the machine expenses, that are considered for computing the machine hour rate. The expenses directly connected with the machines are the power charges, the fuel used, the depreciation of the machinery, the repairs and maintenance of the machinery, etc. The total of these expenses will be divided by the machine hours to compute the machine hour rate. So, total of such expenses, total our machinery, അങ്ങനെ ഇതാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് വരുന്ന മെഷീൻസ് എക്സ്പെൻസസ് എന്തല്ല, ആ എക്സ്പെൻസസിനെ അത് എത്ര കണ്ട് എത്ര അവേഴ്സ് അതുകൊണ്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യിപ്പിച്ചു അതിനെ ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. So the ordinary machine hour rate is equal to total machine expenses divided by total number of hours worked by the machine. So total of the machine expenses divided by total number of hours worked by the machine. So we will calculate this for problem and then we will wind up the session, because too many things we studied, like percentage on what is the direct material cost, direct labor cost, then that percentage on prime cost, then what is that hourly rate, then machine hour rate, then labor hour rate, isn't it? Six types that absorption of overhead. We will check once in after this problem. So from the following, compute the ordinary machine hour rate. Cost of the machine, it is 10 lakh. Expected working life 1 lakh. So machine cost is 10 ലക്ഷമാണ്. വർക്കിംഗ് ലൈഫ് എത്ര വർഷം അത് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യിച്ച വർക്കിംഗ് ലൈഫ് എത്രയാണ്? 1 ലക്ഷം മണിക്കൂർ. ഓക്കെ, സോ അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ ഡിപ്രീസിയേഷൻ നമുക്ക് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാം. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള എക്സ്പെൻസസ് എല്ലാം കൂടെ എടുക്കുക, അതാണ് ഓർക്കേണ്ടത്. Then electricity 5 units per hour at rupees 6. Then repairs 25% of the depreciation. So consumables such as lubricants, cotton waste, etc. 10% of the repairs. അപ്പോൾ ഓരോന്നും ഒന്നിനെ ആശ്രയിച്ചാണ്. അപ്പോൾ we will calculate the statement showing machine hour rate. So firstly, electricity. So how much? 5 units at the rate of rupees 6, so 30. Then next, depreciation of the machinery. എക്സ്പെൻസസ് അല്ല ഇതെല്ലാം, ഏതൊക്കെ എക്സ്പെൻസസ് വരുന്നോ അതെല്ലാം എടുക്കണം ആ ഒരു മെഷീനിന്റെ ഇതില്. സോ ഡിപ്രീസിയേഷൻ ഈസ് 10 lakh is the cost and how many hours it is worked? 1 lakh. So it is 10 lakh divided by 1 lakh. So it is 10, isn't it? Then electricity taken, depreciation taken. Next is repairs. What is that? 25% on depreciation. So depreciation is how much? 10. 10 into 25% is 0.25. sorry, 2.5, 10%. So 2.5, 10. After that, consumable like that, 10% of the repairs. So consumables, 10% or repairs. So 2.5 into 10%. So it is 0.25. Take the total. 40, 42, 42, 75 is the machine hour rate. So here what they are asking, here from the following, ordinary machine hour rate need to calculate. So ordinary machine hour rate means total of the expenses with regard to that machinery divided by the total number of hours expended or worked by that machine. Isn't it? About total number of hours എത്രയാണ് മെഷീൻ അവർ റേറ്റ് എങ്ങനെ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു ഇലക്ട്രിസിറ്റി ചാർജസ് എത്ര യൂസ് ചെയ്തു 5 യൂണിറ്റ് വെച്ച് 6 പെർ അല്ലെ ഓരോ യൂണിറ്റിനും 6 രൂപ വെച്ച് സോ 6 30 ഡിപ്രീസിയേഷൻ 10 ലക്ഷമാണ് ടോട്ടൽ കോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ദ മെഷീനറി 1 ലക്ഷം അവേഴ്സ് യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്തു അപ്പം 10 ലക്ഷത്തിന് 1 ലക്ഷം കൊണ്ട് ഹരിച്ചാൽ 10 രൂപ വെച്ച് കിട്ടും പിന്നെ ഡിപ്രീസിയേഷന്റെ 25% ആ മെഷീനറിയുടെ റിപ്പയർ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവ 2.5 ഇനിയോ റിപ്പയറിന്റെ 10% കൺസ്യൂമബിൾ സ്റ്റോർ യൂസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത് ലൂബ്രിക്കന്റ് ഓയില് കോട്ടൺ വേസ്റ്റ് അതൊക്കെ വരുമല്ലോ അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത് 0.25 ടേക്ക് ദ ടോട്ടൽ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ മെഷീൻ അവർ റേറ്റ് സോ we see today the different aspects with regard to different types of what absorption of overhead. Okay, absorption rate of overhead. So we will look into it. Methods of absorption of overhead. Percentage of direct material, that is, what is the formula? Estimated factory expenses or overhead divided by percentage or estimated direct material cost into 100. That is the percentage. Then second case, percentage of direct wages. Instead of direct material cost, it is direct labor cost. So what is the entry? So what is the formula? Estimated factory overheads for the period divided by estimated direct labor cost for the period into 100. Third is percentage on prime cost. So estimated factory overheads divided by estimated prime cost into 100. Then unit of production basis. So factory overheads divided by number of units produced. Then labor hour rate. Factory overheads divided by total labor hours expended. And machine hour rate, factory overheads divided by total machine hours expended or incurred. Whatever. Then ഇനി അതിനകത്ത് രണ്ട് തരം മെഷീൻ അവർ റേറ്റ് ഉണ്ട് ഒന്ന് ഓർഡിനറി റേറ്റും മറ്റേത് കോമ്പൻസേറ്റ് റേറ്റും ഓർഡിനറി റേറ്റിന്റെ ഫോർമുല എന്തായിരുന്നു ടോട്ടൽ എക്സ്പെൻഡിച്ചർ വിത്ത് റിഗാർഡ് ടു ദാറ്റ് മെഷീൻ ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ ദ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് അവേഴ്സ് ദാറ്റ് മെഷീൻ ഈസ് ടു ബി യൂട്ടിലൈസ്ഡ് that is the formula for calculating the which one machine hour ordinary machine hour rate one more is there composite machine hour rate that we will see in the next class so please see the videos after uploading please confirm it please clear the doubts please do as much as problems because this is a problematic paper so please do as much as problems from the exercise part and also if there is any doubt please clear this. Thank you for